feared Korean Mafia boss was untouchable, until a black little girl said, "Come home for Christmas." The most feared man in Atlanta hadn't cried in 15 years, until a 9-year-old asked him one question that shattered everything. Jin-Soo Park stood in the middle of a South Atlanta street, surrounded by 6 of his enforcers, watching rival gang members flee the neighborhood in terror. He'd just dismantled an entire drug operation in 48 hours. Blood hadn't been spilled, but the threat of violence hung in the air like smoke. That's when he heard her voice. "Mr. Jean, are you a bad guy? Like on TV?" He turned. Maya stood on her grandmother's porch, eyes wide with fear and confusion. The same little girl who'd invited him to Christmas dinner 3 months ago. The same child who'd taught him how to laugh again, who'd called him family. And now she was looking at him like he was a monster. Behind her, Jasmine, the woman he'd fallen in love with, stood with tears streaming down her face, one hand over her mouth. He'd finally found a family after 15 years of isolation. And in one moment he'd destroyed it all. But this story doesn't start with the ending. It starts with the most dangerous man in Atlanta, sitting alone in a penthouse on Christmas Eve, surrounded by everything money could buy, and absolutely nothing that mattered. Jin-Soo Park owned half of Atlanta's underground. The 42-year-old South Korean immigrant had built an empire from absolutely nothing. Luxury hotels, nightclubs that pulsed with bass until dawn, underground gambling operations that generated millions annually. On paper, some of it was legitimate. Beneath the surface, everyone knew the truth. They called him the Ghost, not because he was invisible, but because people who crossed him had a way of disappearing. His penthouse overlooked the Atlanta skyline from the 40th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that cost more than most people's cars, art on the walls that he'd never really looked at. It was all just proof. Proof that the kid who'd arrived in America with $200 and burning shame had made something of himself. But on Christmas Eve, sitting in the dark with only the city lights for company, none of it meant anything. The music from his casino 40 floors below vibrated through the building. Laughter, celebration, life happening everywhere except where he was. His phone sat silent on the glass coffee table. No calls, no texts, no one checking if he was alive or dead. His mother had stopped calling 8 years ago. His father had held a funeral for him 15 years back, the day Jin-Soo had refused to return to Seoul, the day he'd chosen this life over family honor. In traditional Korean fashion, his father had declared him dead, burned his photos, removed his name from the family register. His younger sister had sent one email 3 years ago. It said simply, "I hope you find whatever you're looking for, Appa. But you won't find it in that darkness." He'd never responded. Jin-Soo poured another glass of soju, the expensive kind, the kind his father used to save for New Year's. Tasted like nothing. 42 years old. Wealthier than his ancestors could have imagined. More powerful than most men would ever be. And so completely alone that the silence felt like it had weight. He didn't know that 8 miles south, a 9-year-old girl was about to ask her mother a question that would change his entire life. The St. Regis Hotel on Peachtree Street was one of Jin-Soo's legitimate holdings. 20 stories of luxury, event spaces that hosted everything from weddings to corporate galas. He visited quarterly to review operations, always unannounced, always watching. December 23rd fell on his inspection schedule. The lobby buzzed with holiday energy. Families checking in for Christmas vacation. Business travelers rushing to get home. Staff moving with practiced efficiency through controlled chaos. Jin-Soo stood near the bar, expensive suit, cold expression, the kind of presence that made people unconsciously step aside. He was reviewing security reports on his tablet when the commotion started outside. Through the glass doors, he could see a catering van stopped in the circular driveway. Smoke poured from under the hood. A woman stood beside it, phone pressed to her ear, her free hand directing 3 younger staff members who were unloading equipment with increasing panic. His head of security approached. "Boss, should we have them moved? They're blocking the entrance." Jin-Soo found himself watching the woman instead of answering. She was beautiful. Rich brown skin. Natural hair pulled into a high puff. She wore black pants and a chef's coat with a logo he couldn't quite read. But it wasn't her appearance that caught his attention. It was the way she moved. Calm. Decisive. Even as her van literally smoked and her staff clearly panicked, she orchestrated solutions with the efficiency of a general directing troops. No. He surprised himself with the answer. Send our mechanic. And find out what event she's catering. His security chief raised an eyebrow but nodded. 15 minutes later, Jin-Soo knew her name was Jasmine Williams, age 35, owner of Taste of Home Catering. She was supposed to provide food for a corporate Christmas party in the hotel's grand ballroom. 200 guests, less than 3 hours to service. He also knew her van needed a transmission. Repair time minimum 4 hours. He made a call. Within 20 minutes, his personal mechanic arrived with a replacement van from one of his restaurant supply companies. Backup catering equipment. Everything she needed. Jin-Soo watched from the lobby as his team delivered it. Watched Jasmine's face transform from stress to confusion to something like hope. She immediately asked who sent it. His staff, well-trained, said only that hotel management wanted to help a vendor in distress. She didn't believe them. Jin-Soo was heading to the elevator when she caught him. Excuse me. He turned. Up close, she was even more striking. Warm brown eyes that looked at him with directness most people couldn't manage. No fear. Just determination. Yes? You're Jin-Soo Park. You own this hotel. I own many things. Her jaw tightened slightly. Did you send the van and the equipment? Why would I do that? Because apparently you saw me struggling and decided to play anonymous benefactor. Her tone wasn't grateful. It was challenging. I need to know what this costs. Something shifted in Jin-Soo's chest. Most people took what he offered and asked no questions. Costs nothing. Nothing isn't real. Everything costs something. He studied her. Then consider it a business investment. Your event succeeds, you use this hotel again, I profit eventually. Simple economics. She didn't look convinced. I don't like owing people. You don't owe me. Jasmine crossed her arms. I'm gonna pay you back anyway. I don't know how long it'll take. But I will. That's unnecessary. That's non-negotiable. Before he could respond, a small voice called out, Mama. They both turned. A little girl, maybe 9 years old, ran across the lobby. She had the same warm brown skin as Jasmine. Her hair in 2 puffs with colorful beads that clicked as she moved. She wore a school uniform and a backpack covered in cartoon characters. Baby, I told you to wait by the door. I got bored. The girl looked up at Jin-Soo with open curiosity. Hi, are you the hotel king? Jasmine's eyes went wide. Maya, that's not polite. It's fine. Jin-Soo found himself almost smiling. Not a king. Just an owner. That's basically a king. Maya's grin was infectious. Maya. That's my mama. She makes the best mac and cheese in the whole world. Maya. What? You do. Jin-Soo looked at Jasmine, saw the love and exasperation mixed in her expression, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Longing. Your daughter is very confident. She gets it from her father. Jasmine's voice softened with old grief. He passed away 4 years ago. I'm sorry. Life happens. She touched Maya's shoulder. And we handle it. The little girl looked between them, then announced, we're going to Grandma's house after Mama's done working. For Christmas Eve tomorrow. Do you have Christmas plans, Mr. King? The question landed like a punch. Maya, that's really not appropriate to ask. I have work. Jin-Soo's throat felt tight. On Christmas? Maya's face scrunched in sympathy. That's sad. It's fine. Nobody should work on Christmas. That's like against the rules. There are no rules against it. There should be. Jasmine gently tugged her daughter back. I'm so sorry, Mr. Park. We need to let you go. Jin-Soo nodded. Good luck with your event. He was halfway to the elevator when Maya's voice carried across the lobby. You should come home for Christmas. To Grandma's house. He stopped, turned slowly. Jasmine looked mortified. Maya, sweetheart, Mr. Park is very busy. But he said he doesn't have plans. The girl's logic was irrefutable in her mind. And Grandma always says our table has room for everybody, especially people who are lonely. I'm not lonely. Maya tilted her head, studying him with the unnerving perception only children possessed. Yes, you are. I can tell. The lobby seemed to go quiet. Or maybe it was just that Jin-Soo's pulse was suddenly loud in his ears. Jasmine stepped forward, voice soft. I apologize. She doesn't understand boundaries yet. No. Jin-Soo looked at the little girl, at her mother, at the first genuine invitation he'd received in 15 years. When is dinner? Christmas Eve. 6 o'clock. Jasmine's voice was barely above a whisper. Where? She rattled off an address in a neighborhood Jin-Soo knew well. Working class. Safe enough. 8 miles from his penthouse and a world away from his life. He should say no. Should make an excuse. Should maintain the distance between his world and normal people. I'll be there. Maya's face lit up like she'd won the lottery. Really? You're really coming? If the invitation is genuine. Jasmine's eyes searched his face. She seemed to find something there, because she nodded slowly. It's genuine. 6 o'clock. Don't bring anything fancy. Just yourself. Just himself. Jin-Soo couldn't remember the last time that had been enough for anyone. That evening, back in his penthouse, he stared at the address written on a business card Jasmine had given him. Taste of home catering. The logo was simple, warm. A table surrounded by hearts. His second-in-command, Min-jun, called about a shipment issue. Handle it. Jin-Soo's response was distracted. Boss, this needs your approval. The supplier won't accept my authority. Then find a supplier who will. I'm busy tomorrow. Silence. Then you're never busy on holidays. You always work holidays. Not this year. He hung up before more questions could come. Jin-Soo spent Christmas Eve morning doing something he hadn't done in 2 decades. Shopping for a regular family dinner. The Korean grocery store in Duluth felt like stepping into a memory. The smell of kimchi and sesame oil. Old women arguing over produce prices. K-pop playing from overhead speakers. He bought ingredients for kimchi, knowing it was probably too spicy for a kid but unable to show up empty-handed. Added some yagwa, the honey cookies his mother used to make. Some fresh fruit arranged in a traditional basket. The elderly woman at the register studied him. You look familiar. I have that kind of face. She bagged his items carefully. These are good choices. Your family will be happy. His family. The words stuck in his chest. At 5:30, Jin-Soo stood in front of his mirror, changing clothes for the 4th time. Too formal. Too casual. Too much like he was trying. He finally settled on dark jeans, a simple black sweater, leather jacket. Clothes that probably still cost more than most people spent on a month of outfits, but at least he didn't look like he was attending a business meeting. The drive south took him through neighborhoods that shifted gradually from gleaming towers to modest homes. Christmas lights decorated porches. Inflatable Santas waved from yards. Families visible through windows, gathered around tables and televisions. Normal life. The kind he'd walked away from so long ago he'd forgotten it existed. Jasmine's mother's house sat on a street lined with older homes, well-maintained, loved. Cars already packed the driveway and lined the curb. Laughter and music spilled into the evening air. Jin-Soo sat in his car for a full minute, heart pounding. He could leave, send a gift with an excuse, maintain his distance. Then the front door opened, and Maya appeared on the porch, clearly watching for him. She waved wildly. You came. Mama, he came. Too late to run now. He grabbed the bags and walked up the driveway. Before he reached the steps, the door burst open fully, and what seemed like a dozen people spilled out. An older woman, 60-something with silver locks and a warm smile, reached him first. Baby, welcome. I'm Evelyn, Maya's grandmother, but everyone calls me Mama E. You must be Jin-Soo. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. No ma'am needed here. We're family now. She took the bags from his hands before he could protest. Oh, you brought Korean food. How wonderful. Come in, come in. Don't stand in the cold. The house swallowed him in warmth. The living room overflowed with people. Kids running in circles. Adults talking over each other. A football game playing on the television with half a dozen men shouting at it. The dining table visible through an archway, already set for what looked like 20 people. Everyone, this is Jin-Soo. He's Maya's friend. Mama E's voice carried over the chaos. Make him feel welcome. A chorus of greetings hit him. Hey man. Welcome. Merry Christmas. You like football? Jasmine appeared from the kitchen, wearing jeans and a red sweater, her hair in long braids now instead of the puff. She looked younger, softer, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with effort. You actually came. Relief and surprise mixed in her voice. I said I would. I know, but... She glanced around at her large, loud family, then back at him. This is probably not what you're used to. No. He felt a smile tug at his lips. It's better. Maya grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the kitchen. Come see. Mama and Auntie Tasha are cooking everything. Smells so good. The kitchen was chaos in the best way. 3 women worked around each other with practiced rhythm. Pots bubbled on every burner. The oven glowed with multiple dishes. The counter overflowed with ingredients, finished plates, and love made visible through food. Jasmine looked up. Maya, don't drag the man around like a toy. He doesn't mind. Right, Mr. Jean? Jin-Soo found himself laughing. Actually laughing. I don't mind. An older woman with Jasmine's eyes studied him. So you're the mystery man my daughter can't stop talking about. Mama. Jasmine's cheeks darkened. What? You mentioned him maybe 12 times this week. I counted. Jin-Soo filed that information away, warmth spreading through his chest. Can you cook? The woman, Auntie Tasha apparently, thrust a wooden spoon toward him. We need someone on mashed potato duty. I can follow instructions. Good enough. Get over here. For the next hour, Jin-Soo worked in that cramped kitchen. He mashed potatoes, stirred gravy, got his hands slapped twice for trying to taste before things were ready. Maya sat on the counter beside him, providing constant commentary about school, her friends, and her very detailed opinions about which reindeer was the best. He couldn't remember the last time he'd felt this present, this real. When dinner finally came together, everyone squeezed around the table. Jin-Soo found himself between Maya and Jasmine, their shoulders brushing in the tight space. The table overflowed with food. Collard greens, mac and cheese, candied yams, fried chicken, honey ham, cornbread, and his kimchi and yagwa arranged alongside everything else. Mama E raised her hand for silence. Before we eat, we give thanks. And we have a guest tonight. Jin-Soo, would you like to say grace? Every eye turned to him. His throat tightened. He hadn't prayed since childhood. Hadn't spoken to any god in decades. What could a man like him possibly say? Maya's small hand slipped into his. It's okay. Just say what you're thankful for. He closed his eyes. The words came out rough, halting. Thank you. For this food. For this family who invited a stranger into their home. For... He paused, emotion threatening to crack his voice. For not being alone tonight. Amen. Mama E's voice was thick. Now let's eat before everything gets cold. The meal was loud, messy, and perfect. Jin-Soo tried everything, including the collard greens that Maya warned him were grandma spicy. He shared stories about Seoul when asked, about the food his mother used to make, about the winters that made Atlanta's cold feel like vacation. For a few hours he forgot who he was, what he'd done. The blood on his hands and the empire built on fear. He was just a man at a table full of people who laughed too loud and loved too hard and welcomed him like he belonged. If this story is already hitting different, hit subscribe right now. Because what Jin-Soo experiences next will shatter everything you think you know about redemption. After dinner, someone put on music. The living room furniture got pushed back. Jasmine's uncle taught Jin-Soo how to do a basic two-step while everyone cheered and laughed at his stiffness. Maya fell asleep on the couch around 10, curled against his side like it was the most natural thing in the world. Her weight against him felt like trust made physical. I should take her to bed. Jasmine appeared beside him, I can carry her, if that's okay. Something flickered in Jasmine's eyes. Okay. He lifted Maya carefully. She weighed nothing but felt like everything. Jasmine led him down a narrow hallway to a small bedroom decorated with butterflies and bookshelves overflowing with stories. He laid Maya in her bed. Jasmine pulled the covers up, kissed her daughter's forehead. In the hallway, they stood close in the dim light. Thank you. Jasmine's voice was barely above a whisper. I haven't seen her this happy since... She stopped. Since her father. Yeah. I should go. Even as he said it, Jin-Soo didn't move. Or you could stay for coffee. Mama E makes it strong enough to wake the dead. He stayed. They sat on the back porch, just the two of them, while the party wound down inside. The coffee was strong. The silence was comfortable. Why did you really come tonight? Jasmine asked. Because your daughter was right. I was lonely. Most people lie about that. I'm tired of lying. She studied him in the porch light. What do you actually do, Jin-Soo? Because I know it's more than hotels. He could lie. Should lie. Instead, the truth came out. I own businesses. Some legitimate. Some not. I have power that I've used badly. I've hurt people. I've been the monster in other people's stories. Jasmine didn't flinch. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know who you invited into your family's home. And because if I walk away now, I can pretend tonight never happened. But if I stay, he met her eyes. I need you to know who I really am. Long silence. The sounds of family inside. Dishes being washed. Someone laughing at a story they'd probably told 100 times before. Are you going to hurt us? Never. The word came out fierce. I would never. Then stay for New Year's too. That simple. That terrifying. I'll be here. New Year's Eve brought a smaller crowd but the same warmth. Jin-Soo arrived with more food, more gifts for Maya, and a hope he didn't dare name. The party was halfway through when trouble arrived. Car pulled up fast, music blaring. A man stumbled out. Tall, unkempt, clearly drunk. Maya's face went pale. Mama. Jasmine stepped in front of her daughter. Body tense. Darnell. You shouldn't be here. Jin-Soo's instincts screamed. His hand moved toward the weapon he'd deliberately left in his car. The man, Darnell, swayed up the walkway. I got every right. She's my daughter. You signed away your rights 3 years ago. I changed my mind. If you're just joining the story, you're about to witness the moment Jin-Soo has to choose between who he was and who he wants to become. Subscribe now so you don't miss how this ends. Jin-Soo stepped forward, positioning himself between Darnell and the family. Leave. Who the hell are you? I'm asking politely. Once. Something in Jin-Soo's voice penetrated Darnell's alcohol haze. The man's eyes flickered with the same recognition Jin-Soo had seen 1,000 times. Prey recognizing predator. This ain't your business. I'm making it my business. Walk away. Get in your car. Drive somewhere safe. Sober up. Think very carefully about ever coming back here. The standoff lasted 10 seconds. Then Darnell stumbled backward, muttering curses, and drove away into the night. When Jin-Soo turned around, Jasmine's brother stood on the porch. Marcus. The man had cop written all over him, even in civilian clothes. I know who you are. Marcus's voice was low, dangerous. Jin-Soo Park. The ghost. You think I don't recognize the biggest criminal in Atlanta standing in my mother's front yard? Jin-Soo met his gaze steadily. Former cop, 12 years. Now I work private security. His jaw tightened. What do you want with my sister? Nothing she doesn't want to give. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. Marcus stepped closer. You bring your world anywhere near this family. I don't care how scary you think you are. I will end you. If I bring my world near this family, I'll let you. They stared at each other. Then Marcus nodded once and went inside. Jasmine found him later, sitting alone on the porch swing. Marcus told me everything. She sat beside him. Is it true? Yes. Are you going to walk away now that I know? Do you want me to? No. Her voice was firm. I want you to stay and prove my brother wrong about you. What if he's right? Then prove him right. But at least have the courage to find out. He kissed her that night. Soft at first, then deeper, then desperate. She tasted like champagne and new beginnings and everything he didn't deserve. The next 2 months fell into rhythm. Sundays at Mama E's house became sacred. Jin-Soo taught Maya Korean phrases. She taught him how to properly eat watermelon and how to do the latest TikTok dances. Badly. He helped repair Mama E's leaking roof, using his construction connections to get materials at cost. His associates noticed the change. Min-jun confronted him directly. "You're distracted. Weak. The other organizations smell blood. Let them. This woman and her kid. They're making you soft. They're making me better. Same thing in our world. Then maybe I need a new world." The words surprised them both. But new worlds don't come easy. And old worlds don't let go without a fight. The rival organization moved into Mama E's neighborhood quietly. Drug corners appearing on streets that had been clean for years. Young men with hard eyes watching the block. Maya came home from school scared. She'd seen something at the corner store. Men exchanging packages. One had pointed at her and her cousins, made a gesture that needed no translation. Mama E called Jasmine. Jasmine called Jin-Soo. He shouldn't have come. Shouldn't have done what he did. But when Maya's safety was threatened, the ghost woke up. Jin-Soo dismantled the entire operation in 48 hours. He called in favors, deployed enforcers, sent messages that required no words. The rival crew didn't just leave the neighborhood. They left Atlanta. He was giving final instructions to his men when he heard Maya's voice. "Mr. Jean, are you a bad guy? Like on TV?" He turned. She stood on the porch, 9 years old, eyes wide with fear. Behind her, Jasmine's hand covered her mouth. Jin-Soo looked down at himself, at the 6 armed men around him, at the power he wore like a second skin. "Maya, I can." She ran inside. The door slammed. The sound broke something in him. The confrontation with Jasmine came that night. "You brought that violence to my daughter." Her voice shook. "To my family. I was protecting you. By becoming exactly what you said you'd never be around us?" Jasmine's tears fell freely. "She saw you, Jin-Soo. She saw the monster." "I know. So what now? You disappear? Go back to your penthouse and pretend we never happened? It would be safer for you." "Safer." She laughed bitterly. "You think safety is what I need? I need someone who stays. Who fights for us instead of running. I don't know how to be what you need." "Then learn. What if I fail? What if you don't?" The back door opened. Mama E stood there, arms crossed. "Boy, get inside. We're not finished with you yet." He followed her to the kitchen where the whole family had gathered. Marcus with arms crossed. Aunts and uncles watching. Everyone silent. Mama E pointed at a chair. "Sit." He sat. "You think you're the only one at this table with a past." Her voice was steady. "My husband did 10 years in prison. My son struggled with addiction for a decade. Jasmine's ex put his hands on her before he got himself killed in that car. Every person in this room has made choices they regret." She leaned closer. "The question isn't where you been, baby. It's where you going." "I don't know." Honest words, the only kind he had left. "Then figure it out. But don't you dare run just because it's hard. That's the coward's way. And whatever else you are, I don't think you're a coward." Maya wouldn't see him that night, or the next. On the 3rd day, he brought a Korean children's book to the house and sat in the garden, waiting. She came out eventually, stood at a distance, watched him like he might explode. "I'm sorry." His voice was rough. "You asked if I'm a bad guy. The truth is, I've done bad things. A lot of them. I can't undo any of it." "Then why are you here?" "Because your grandmother told me something important. People aren't just bad or good. We're people making choices. And I want to make better choices now. With your family. With you." Maya considered this with heartbreaking seriousness. "Will you hurt Mama?" "Never." "Will you hurt Grandma?" "I would die first." "Will you hurt me?" His voice cracked. "I would rather hurt myself 1,000 times." Long silence. "Okay." She walked over, sat beside him on the bench. "But you have to promise to be a good guy now." I promise to try. Every single day. She leaned against his side. That's enough. If this story has moved you, if you see yourself in Jin-Soo's struggle for redemption, hit subscribe, because the ending will change how you see family forever. The next 6 months transformed everything. Jin-Soo began transitioning his operations. Legitimate businesses expanded. Illegal ones were shut down or sold. It wasn't clean or easy. Some men left. Some threatened. But the ghost's reputation held long enough for the transition to stick. He reached out to his family in Seoul. A video call with his mother that lasted 3 hours and left them both sobbing. His father refused to speak to him, but his sister came to Atlanta for a week, meeting Jasmine and Maya, seeing who her brother was becoming. He paid off Mama E's house, set up a college fund for Maya, invested in Jasmine's catering business as a silent partner. She made him earn it though. Every dollar came with accountability. Every gesture required he stay present, not just provide from a distance. Maya's 10th birthday arrived on a Saturday in June. The backyard overflowed with kids, family, chaos, and joy. Jin-Soo manned the grill while Marcus reluctantly admitted he wasn't terrible company. Maya ran up to him, cake frosting on her face. "Mr. Jin-Soo, thank you for my party." "You're welcome, Maya." She grinned. "Can I call you something else now?" "Like what?" "Like Daddy Jean." The world stopped. He looked at Jasmine across the yard. She was already watching, tears streaming down her face, nodding. "I would be honored." Maya threw her arms around him. "Best birthday ever." That night, after the party, Jin-Soo took Jasmine aside. In front of the family, in front of everyone, he got on one knee. "I spent 15 years building an empire that meant nothing. Then your daughter invited me home for Christmas, and I found everything. You gave me a family when I'd forgotten what family meant. Let me be yours. Officially, permanently, forever." Jasmine pulled him up, kissed him through tears. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." Maya pumped her fist. "I knew it. I totally planned this." Christmas Eve. 1 year later, Jin-Soo stood in Mama E's kitchen, helping prepare dinner. The house was fuller than ever. His mother had flown from Seoul, meeting Jasmine's family for the first time. The two grandmothers sat in the living room, Maya translating between them, giggling at the chaos. His sister was there with her husband and kids. Marcus clapped him on the shoulder like a brother. The table overflowed with Korean dishes and Seoul food mixed together. 2 cultures becoming one family. Jin-Soo looked around the room and remembered last Christmas. The penthouse, the silence, the empty glass of soju. Then he looked at Jasmine, his wife now, at Maya who'd started calling him dad without the gene, at the family that had welcomed a monster and helped him become a man. Mama E called for grace. Jin-Soo stood, took Jasmine's hand on one side, Maya's on the other. "Thank you for second chances, for a little girl brave enough to invite a stranger home, for a family that believes people can change, and for teaching me that home isn't a place. It's the people who love you anyway. Amen." 20 voices together. Maya grinned up at him. "See, Dad? I told you your heart would grow. 3 sizes. Just like the book." The table erupted in laughter. Outside, snow began to fall on Atlanta. Rare, beautiful, perfect. Inside, a family celebrated Christmas together. And Jin-Soo Park, once the most feared man in the city, finally understood what it meant to come home. If the story touched your soul, subscribe right now. Because every week, we bring stories of broken people finding their way back to love. Don't miss the next one. Hit subscribe. You won't regret it. Happy Christmas, dear loved ones.